Flexible foam insulation is extruded from either elastomeric rubber or polyethylene-based materials into pipe insulation or sheet stock. It has a flame rating of 25 and a smoke development of less than 50 up to and including 3/4-inch wall thicknesses. It is used on hot and cold service installations ranging from minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. The closed cell structure of these insulations make them especially efficient thermal insulators that are resistant to moisture and vapor penetration. They do not require a separate vapor barrier and can be used outdoors if painted with a protective coating to protect against ultraviolet ray degradation. Pipe insulation is available in various sizes to fit copper tubing and iron pipe sizes from 3/8 ID up to 4-inch IPS, and in standard lengths of 6 feet, and wall thicknesses are 3/8, 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. Sizes above 4 inches can be insulated with sheet or roll goods. Sheet form is available in standard 3 feet by 4 feet sheets or in either 3 or 4 foot wide rolls. Thicknesses range from 1/8 to 1 inch. Billions of feet of copper tubing and pipe have been insulated with flexible foam insulation, saving energy and preventing condensation or frost forming on such uses as cold water plumbing, chilled water and refrigerant lines. It is also used to retard heat loss for hot water plumbing, liquid heating, dual temperature, and solar systems piping. Sheet stock insulates and prevents condensation on large piping, tanks, ducts, vessels, and equipment used in both hot and cold systems. To install flexible foam insulation, you'll need only simple tools and materials: a sharp 6-inch boning knife and sharpening stone. Make sure it has a steel blade, no stainless steel kitchen knives here. A tape measure or 6-foot folding rule, sharp knife, miter box, metal straight edge. For more detailed work, you may need the following: dividers, calipers, clamps, punches, adhesive brushes, or paint roller. Be sure you have the right safety equipment. Safe work practices and your personal protection are important in every job. This includes proper use of eye and respiratory protection. NIAC Safety Handbook is an excellent reference to help prevent accidents and injuries. If any questions, ask your supervisor. You'll need safety glasses or goggles, a hard hat, and a mask. And accessories: adhesive, foam tape, paint and brushes, and used in a well-ventilated area. Pipe insulation is installed by slipping it onto the pipe as the pipe is being hooked up, or by slitting the insulation lengthwise and snapping over the pipe after the system is up and tested. The unique benefit enjoyed by sliding the insulation on the pipe is that there are few joints requiring gluing. Also, it conforms to tubing bends, and it will slide right over sweat fittings up to 45 degrees, but not recommended for 90s, particularly on cold water lines to prevent condensation. Proper installation calls for pushing the insulation, not pulling. Pulling can stretch the insulation and open up the joints. The inside of the insulation is lightly powdered to make sliding easier. Plug the open end of the pipe to prevent the dust from going in the end. This is particularly important on refrigerant piping. Push the insulation up against fittings, compressing it slightly, and when butting 2 sections together. Turn the trademark names up or out of view for a more professional-looking installation. When sweating the fittings or straight-run joints, push the insulation back and hold with clamps on the pipe. Then, wait until the joint cools before releasing the clamps and pushing the insulation back. Slit the insulation lengthwise with a sharp knife. Use the trademark names as your guide by slitting down the center, or it can be ordered pre-slit with or without a self-sealing adhesive. If the insulation has been out of round in the carton, cut through the flatter side, not the long. This will make a tighter seam, as you can see. Open the seam by running the heel of your hand along the slit to flatten it out. The insulation takes a temporary set and remains open while you apply a thin coat of contact-type adhesive to both edges. Brush from the inside edge out. Let dry until tacky to the touch, about 2 to 5 minutes. Then install on the pipe. Join the seams together at the first end to be glued. Next, work toward the opposite end of the tube where the adhesive was applied last. Another way to apply adhesive to the seam is to snap the insulation on the pipe. Coat the edges. Push the insulation down on the pipe to hold the seam open until the adhesive has set. Then, pull it back on the pipe and close as before. Install insulation on straight runs, remembering to compress the insulation slightly at each fitting and at each end joint. You can do this by adding 1/8 of an inch to the length required to go from one section to another or to fittings. Pre-manufactured fittings are available from manufacturers, or tees can be insulated by cutting out for the branch line in the main section and saddle cutting the branch line insulation. 90-degree elbows can be formed by measuring from the end of the last section and cutting the insulation at a 45-degree angle. Do the same for the mating piece of insulation. To seal the butt ends and where the insulation meets fittings, force the brush into the seam. This is called a wet joint, which will dry and form a vapor-tight joint that gets stronger with age.